There are several mistakes that I see a lot of women making when it comes to embracing their feminine energy. So today I'm going to provide some clarity around these so you can really start to get in touch with this feminine side of you. Hey friends, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jills and I talk all about health, wellness, and self-development for women. So if that's something you want to learn more about, be sure to hit the red subscribe button below, as well as the notification bell so you don't miss when I put out any new videos. Let's talk about feminine energy and the 7 mistakes that I see people making when it comes to getting more in touch with this side of themselves. But first, before I dive in, I just want to say that your feminine energy is powerful and it's beautiful. And if you are a woman with an innately dominant feminine core, which is probably you if you clicked on this video, this is most women, then it deserves to be brought out more and embraced. If this is innately who you are, then living more in alignment with your true self will feel so good. You'll feel happier, more fulfilled, less anxious, healthier, and you'll probably start to attract the right people into your life too. Now, if you're totally new to feminine energy, then be sure to watch this video as well because it covers all of the basics, but let me get right into the feminine energy mistakes that you need to avoid. Oh, and make sure you watch until the very end because the last one is important and often not really talked about much. The first mistake that I see people making is that they avoid asking for help and try to do everything themselves, or they resist what's being given to them. We have this belief in our society today that we have to do everything on our own and have all these struggles along the way, and if we ask for help or receive help that's given to us, then we're weak. And don't get me wrong, a feminine woman is totally capable of doing anything they set their minds to and is capable of achieving anything and doing anything, but I think we all know this, and I think this is why it's so difficult for us to sometimes ask for help, because we don't necessarily need it. But the feminine is all about receiving, and this receiving aspect is very powerful. So the masculine is all about action and giving, and the feminine is about receiving, and they're able to attract in what they want or need as opposed to always going out and getting it all the time like the masculine. So to bring this back full circle and to make this a bit more practical, it's okay to ask for help when you feel like it can really benefit you or help you to feel better, and it's okay to accept help even when you don't ask for it. This doesn't make you incapable and you don't have to prove yourself. This is a really important part of stepping into the feminine. It's also important to remember that those with a strong masculine core love to provide in this way. It feels good to them and it truly nourishes their soul. And I think a lot of women think that they're being annoying by asking for help or whatnot, but to a masculine person, this feels good to them. It feels good to provide in this way. The next thing that we can get caught up in is feeling that our worth is defined by our achievements and outward success. Society has taught us that this is the most important thing and that your work and achievements decide your value here on this earth. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally value my work and my achievements very much so, but your worth is not defined by them. Just who you innately are as a feminine woman and as a human is perfect. A healthy feminine woman knows that they are worthy innately as they are, and again, that they don't have to prove themselves. This is a big recurring theme here. It's just an energy and mindset shift, and when you can really embody this and know that this is true, you'll start to feel so much more confident in yourself and have so much more love for yourself. And third, a mistake that some women are making is that they are ignoring their intuition. Everyone has the ability to listen and use their intuition, but women are much more naturally in tune with this, and this is a huge strength. Society might not see this as powerful, but it is. It's so common that we hear this voice or have that inner knowing, which is our intuition speaking to us, but then sometimes we stifle it by logic and overanalyzing things. And don't get me wrong, we need a healthy dose of logic here and there, but our intuition can be one of our best guides. So if you have a strong gut feeling about something, don't ignore it even if you can't explain it. When you can really tap into and harness this part of yourself, your feminine energy will be taken to a whole new level. And I think a lot of people get confused. What is my intuition versus what is just my anxiety? And for me, and from what I've heard from a lot of other people, your anxiety usually stems from emotion or is correlated really heavily with emotion. But your intuition is just an inner knowing without emotion. Now, the emotion might come after the intuitive hit, but it doesn't stem from it. So if you're not yet trying to tap into your intuition and use it, then I highly recommend you start trying to do this to connect more with your feminine energy and just yourself in general. It is a very powerful skill and highly underutilized. Next, something that happens a lot, even though we all know that we need to do this, is that we don't prioritize our own self-care. For us to be able to fully step into that feminine side inside of us, we have to take care of ourselves and do the things that we need to do to feel good and to feel radiant. When we're stressed and drained and just all that kind of stuff, our feminine light starts to dim until it's just out completely. While we definitely need to be taking care of ourselves, we also sometimes need that feeling of someone else taking care of us as well, like a massage, a blowout, Reiki, whatever you're into, it doesn't matter, but this is just so restorative for the feminine spirit. And self-care is also a process of reconnecting with yourself too. Although it can totally mean going to get your hair and nails done, it can also be so much deeper than that. It can be about getting back in touch with your body, getting back in touch with your intuition. And if we're only defining our worth by our achievements and success, back to my first point, then a lot of this self-care gets put on the back burner. So show yourself that you matter and that you are innately worthy as you are by prioritizing this. The fifth mistake I see when it comes to embracing your feminine energy is that a lot of women are seeing their emotions as bad and they're not fully comfortable feeling into them. But this way of thinking creates a disconnect from your feelings, which thus creates a disconnect from your feminine. Your emotions are not inherently bad. They are a valid and beautiful way of expressing yourself. Our society again has kind of trained us to believe that when a woman expresses her emotions deeply, she's either crazy or hormonal. And while you can totally be moody or irritable if your hormones are imbalanced, and if that's you, go watch this video, the beautiful thing about the feminine is how in touch with their emotions they are. And expressing our emotions is one of the most efficient ways for our body to clear heavy energy from the body and let it go. And you can learn more about that here. But think about the stigma against crying, especially for men, but even for women too. Crying is seen as weak or silly or immature. Now, a healthy feminine woman should absolutely be able to hold herself together when she needs to, so to say, but at the end of the day, she needs to feel fully comfortable expressing her emotions with herself and when she's in a safe space with others who she's close to. And if we don't release these emotions and feel these emotions, then this blockage of energy within your body will start to restrict the flow of your feminine. Now, here's the problem. If we start expressing our emotions in negative ways, like lashing out, blaming and criticizing others, projecting our feelings onto others, then this is not good and this is not healthy. And this is what gives emotions a bad name and a bad rap. And this is the kind of stuff that should be avoided. The feminine is expressed through emotions, so it's important to really listen to how you feel and feel into these feelings. Your emotions are not bad and they're a very important part of experiencing and embracing your feminine energy. So when you're in a safe space, stop holding in your emotions and suppressing them. Instead, relax your body, open up, and feel into them. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is that a lot of women have a hard time experiencing or embracing pleasure. There can be a lot of feelings that come up here around shame or guilt or feelings of selfishness, but the feminine really steps into its most powerful and radiant self when it's able to regularly experience this. Pleasure is not something to be earned. It's a birthright for all of us. This is very healing and energy giving to the feminine. Now, this pleasure can obviously look different for different people. A warm bath, a square of dark chocolate, dancing to your favorite song, sex, it doesn't matter. But when you are doing this, make sure that you're fully present in the moment and really experiencing it with all five senses. And this goes again back to this concept of receiving, which is a really important part of embracing your feminine energy. We've been taught that receiving is bad, it's selfish, it's weak, whatever. But you need to let all of this go and start reframing this mindset. So it's time to start prioritizing this. So ask yourself what you can do today to give yourself pleasure, to light you up, to make you feel good, and go do it. Okay, lastly, this is something that isn't really brought up much, but I think it's really important. So a big mistake that I see a lot of women making when it comes to embracing their feminine energy and getting more in touch with this side of themselves is that they think that being in their masculine is inherently bad. And I know that sounds confusing, so let me explain what I mean by this. Remember that feminine and masculine energy is within everyone, and we need both of these energies to truly thrive, to be successful, to feel good. Think of it like the yin and the yang. The feminine is the yin and the masculine is the yang, and they are the perfect complementary opposites, and they need both of each other to be complete. And if we only have one without the other, then we'll swing off into the deep end in one direction, and that's not healthy either. It's not healthy to be in our feminine 100% of the time in our life, and it's not healthy for someone to be in their masculine 100% of the time. We need both of these energies. If someone is 100% in their feminine, then it's likely that they're going to lack the structure that's sometimes needed. They're going to have trouble finishing things. They're going to ignore practicalities. And the 100% masculine person will totally ignore their creativity, ignore their gut feelings, so they won't be able to have empathy for others. They'll be closed off emotionally and have a lack of flexibility. We need a balance of both. Your masculine energy is also a very beautiful part of you. However, you'll start to feel out of alignment and feel off when your masculine energy starts to override your feminine energy, and when the masculine energy starts to become your dominant energy in your life. So the point is that your masculine energy is needed, and it's an amazing part of you too. We don't want to shut this off completely, we just don't want it to take over. And you might use more of certain energies in different areas of your life. So maybe for relationships, if you're looking to attract a more masculine partner, then it's helpful and supportive for you to be mostly in your feminine when it comes to the whole relationship world. But when you're dealing with work, it might be more helpful to be more in your masculine depending on your role. But if you get stuck in that masculine state, this is where it really hurts, and this is what happens a lot of the time. We have to bring our time and attention and our energy to kind of shifting us back into the feminine, to opening up and softening, to being able to receive again, to embracing pleasure and prioritizing self-care. And a lot of the times we don't do this, and so we get stuck in this masculine state. And this hurts if you're an innately feminine woman. And this will almost always lead to poor physical or mental health over time. So it's okay to embrace your masculine, and it's a wonderful part of you that should also be cherished, but just don't let it take over. I love that I'm seeing more and more women trying to embrace their femininity and get in touch with this side of themselves more. So I hope I was able to provide a little bit of clarity around how to do this and what mistakes to avoid. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this, then be sure to let me know in the comments, because it's very helpful to know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to watch these 2 videos right here. Now go do something nice for yourself, because your feminine soul is always worthy and always deserving. Catch you next time.